It's time for a wrap-up of March 2021 numbers, and we can't wait to dive into the data. How much inventory is out there in the Los Angeles housing market, OC and Riverside? We're going to show you. And what happened with the median home price, especially when we compare it to year over year? We can't wait to share. And make sure you stick around to the end for a new number one thing you should be watching in the real estate market 2021. Hey there, Christian Walsh, Wire Associates. We're real estate brokers based in Southern California, helping buyers and sellers and tenants and landlords during these crazy days in California and beyond. And we're here with our March 2021 wrap up on numbers. By the way, if you crave real estate market data for Southern California, make sure you subscribe to this channel. So if you're ready to dive into the median home price update, hit the like button and let's get started. And it's time to dive into the median home price data. Let me get out of the way so we can see it. Exciting numbers, and wait till you see what happened this month. So you can see the general trend is it continues to go up over time in the four counties we're covering here, which are Orange County, Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Diego median home prices. And you can see the general trend is they go up over time, a little bit of a wave. Then we hit 2020. We had a dip in 2020 as COVID hit and changed the market. But then lo and behold, things took off again. And you can see a dramatic increase, particularly in the last 2 to 3 months. You can see prices have gone through the roof. So we're at record highs for median home prices in these four different marketplaces. And another important point to show you, if you look closely, let's go back to last March. So you can see year over year, we are way up. And those percentages you see, the 13.8 for Orange County, 17.4, 21.3 for Riverside, and 18% for San Diego. That is the year over year change in median price. And why this is interesting is you look at the folks who went into forbearance plans, which started in March, and people have been going into those since the beginning, and you can see that the values have continued to go up. So somebody who went into a forbearance plan at the end of March 2020 has significant equity. So they don't need to be foreclosed on because they have so much equity. These are people who can actually do a traditional sale. So this is a very important point, that values have gone up significantly, even for those folks who haven't been paying mortgages. So we don't expect a big wave of foreclosures because a lot of these people can just sell. So this is the latest median home price data for 2021. And let's dive into the single family and multifamily data. I'll get out of the way so we can see that. And we have a lot to show in the data today. So you can see for Orange County single family, this is houses, condos, townhomes in the data. And we have the sold, in escrow, and new listings. So you see some dips, and the dip in 2020 is March when COVID started to hit the data. And what we can see, what another interesting thing is, you see where the listings are compared to the escrows, there's that big band. And what it shows you is that buyers were more worried about COVID back last year than sellers were, although we saw a slowdown in both. So looking at March of 2021 for Orange County, we can see the extreme sellers market continue. And it's also evident by seeing this twist. And that's a twist in the number of escrows and the number of listings. So there aren't enough listings coming. We have more escrows than new listings. So that's sucking up all the data. You can also see the record number of sold. So there's basically peaks in escrows and sold, but then we have low listings. So that's what's leading to the crazy market out there. So certainly in Orange County, we're seeing multiple offers and fights. So LA is more of a healthy, natural market. We can see that there's a band between the new listings and the properties going into escrow. So that maintains that difference between the two different lines. It has shrunken. You can see that there is a shrink when it comes into 2021 in March data, but we don't see the flop between the listings and the sales that we did in Orange County and we'll see in Riverside. So this is more of a healthy market. Again, you see that March 2020 dip, but definitely a peak for sales. But listings are up in LA. So it is still a seller's market, but not an over-the-top crazy seller's market. And again, this is all of Los Angeles. So we may find that there's certain price points that we don't have such a natural looking market. It could have that flop in lower end price points. And then Riverside, holy cow, lots of swoops and data everywhere. And you can see, look at how low the escrows dropped last year, year over year. And then look at almost double, to 2,000 more for 2021. And that's an absolute record for new escrows, and we've got a heavy inversion between the listings and escrows. So you can see in Riverside a crazy seller's market for March. And the multifamily data, as we've been tracking, things were slower for multifamily. They recently changed for Orange County and Riverside, so let's see what the data shows us. And you can see, again, a lot of swoops everywhere. There were a lot of new listings in 2019 and low demand, but you can see kind of a healthy market for March of 2021. It was getting crazy in Orange County for multifamily, but then we had an uptick in new listings and we see it out there now. So it's a pretty healthy market leaning toward a seller's market for Orange County multifamily. And here we are in LA, and there's a big difference, big band, the solid difference between the number of properties that go under contract and the number of listings. Right now, part of what explains this difference between the number of properties going under contract and those that are listed and then those that are sold, the difference is related to, in part, the LA eviction moratorium, which is more stringent than SB 91 that governs the rest of the state. A few areas like LA have a more stringent eviction moratorium, which may make it tougher for landlords to want to sell or be able to sell. So you can see again in the data that dip in last year's March 2020 numbers, and then Riverside swoops all over. You never know what you're going to see in Riverside, but we can see here that we actually have escrows exceeding supply again. So it is definitely more of a seller's market in Riverside for multifamily. So what is the number one thing to be watching in 2021? And this list has continued to change, and there's quite a few things that we're tracking on the list, including interest rates as those go up. We're also tracking whether there's going to be another stimulus package. We did just have the third. How much more likely is it we'll have another one? We're also tracking unemployment. We're tracking non-payment of mortgages. It looks like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is hoping to see foreclosures pushed into 2022. We're tracking evictions and non-payment of rent, and we've got that in the CDC eviction moratorium across the nation. Some states are actually challenging the eviction moratorium. And then in the state of California, we have SB 91. Both the CDC eviction moratorium and SB 91 are slated to expire June 30th. So we'll be watching that to see if there's any new legislation put in place in the state of California to replace or extend SB 91. So the number one thing we were talking about was lack of inventory, and we see that in the data, particularly Riverside, Orange County. In our videos that we do, I did a don't buy now video, and it became kind of a therapy session for people to explain just how tough it is out there. And we got answers from Singapore, Australia, Canada, all across the United States. It is very tough out there. So lack of inventory was and still is close to being a number one. But honestly, the number one thing to watch in the marketplace for real estate 2021 is the fact that so many people have no idea what is going on. You talk to experts in their respective fields, whether it's real estate, economics, CEOs, CFOs, you talk to these folks, and a lot of people just shrug their shoulders. So that's the number one thing we're watching is the shoulder shrug right now. A whole lot of people not sure why the economy is so on fire and where it's headed and when things are going to change. So that's what we're tracking. Give us your opinion. I want your comments below. I want to know where you think the market's headed, or if you're shrugging your shoulders just like I am and so many others are. So please let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter. We have a link below for that. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? We'd love to have you get our videos as they come out on Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. So this has been Christian Walsh with Wire Associates, and we appreciate you.